Hey, MCI customers, it sounds so easy to get big savings with all those MCI friends and family plans, but first you got to give out a list of names and numbers of your friends and family. Keep that list up to date. And after all that, anytime you call someone not on your list, you won't save anything at all. You may even have to pay up to $36 a year in fees. Why bother? Now, for a simple way to save from AT&T. With True USA Savings, spend $25 a month, subtract 20% off your AT&T bill. Guaranteed. To switch to AT&T, call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Get True USA Savings, then you're free to call anyone, anytime, anywhere in the U.S. and save 20%. No lists, no fees, no hoopla. We'll even switch you for free. All you got to do is call AT&T.
Your true voice.
It's the first word on business. News your company needs to grow. Wake up to the world with First Business on USA. Coming up next.
Chip Company and by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Now, here's Barton Eckert.
Good morning. Much of the business world is reeling after the House of Representatives decided to put off until after Election Day its vote on the GATT trade agreement. Passage of GATT looked like a shoo-in, but First Business correspondent Jim Nash shows us how all of the legislative hot buttons are being pushed now that politics has taken over.
It was supposed to have been a done deal by now. The worldwide general agreement on tariffs and trade easily passed with bipartisan support in Congress and eagerly signed by President Clinton, reducing tariffs everywhere and stimulating $5 trillion additional dollars in global trade. But House Republicans balked, not wanting to hand a victory to the White House before the election, even though most Republicans are for GATT. And many Democrats who are against it breathed a sigh of relief, knowing they won't have to oppose the president before they face voters. Now all the hot buttons are being pushed by people like Ross Perot, dead set against GATT and trying to scare Republicans who are for it. All of which leaves entrepreneurs who want to capitalize on expanded trade frustrated and worried the agreement will collapse.
We have a very strange situation in which neither the Republicans nor the Democrats really find it in their interest to do the right thing for the economy of the country and for its entrepreneurs.
Another hot button being pushed, accusations by some that the Washington Post company is getting a special price break on an FCC license for new digital communications technology being developed by a company the Post controls. The GATT trade bill contains legislation to reduce the price of the license, but in an editorial, the Post contends it's paying a lot for a license that used to cost nothing.
If you call going from a promised free license to one that will cost us and the two other pioneers at least $500 million, that's not my idea of a sweetheart deal.
If Congress doesn't pass GATT by the end of this year, the so-called fast-track provision of the legislation lapses, meaning that instead of a simple up or down vote, after the first of the year, any member of Congress can attempt to amend a treaty that's already been negotiated with more than 100 countries. In other words, a can of worms. Jim Nash, First Business.
From Main Street to State Street to Wall Street, financial markets and business owners are awaiting September employment numbers due out this morning from the Labor Department. As First Business correspondent Bob Beard reports, the numbers could force the Federal Reserve to tighten credit again, putting the crimp on consumers and businesses.
Most analysts predict non-farm businesses added between 250 and 262,000 new jobs last month as the economy continues on a roll. Forecasters also look for the September unemployment rate to stay the same at 6.1%. But job creation is the key. If it's too strong, like a swift October storm, the Fed may be forced to raise short-term rates again because previous hikes haven't made a dent in growth, and inflation could become a problem, eroding investments and income. Meeting in Williamsburg, Virginia, the Business Council, made up of CEOs of major firms like AT&T, PepsiCo, and Chemical Bank, warned of another Fed hike and soon. In an economic survey, the council predicts the overnight Fed funds rate could hit 5.5% in the next year. It's now 4.75%. But the council also predicts the economy may slow down in the months to come with lower growth and inflation. Of course, all of this doesn't mean much if you don't earn much. A new report from the Census Bureau shows the number of Americans in poverty went up last year to just over 39 million people. The Bureau says 15% of Americans earn less than the official poverty line of $14,763 a year. The median income also slipped to just over $31,000. Labor Secretary Robert Reich says unless the trend turns around, the U.S. will be a two-tiered society with the rich and everyone else. Bob Beard, First Business.
Congress wants American troops out of Haiti and is saying so in a non-binding resolution passed last night. There is no date, though, set for a pullout. The resolution is critical of the president for not getting congressional approval before sending American soldiers in. There is also demand for a written description of U.S. policy and objectives in Haiti to be submitted to Congress within a week. In Haiti, the lower house of parliament has passed a bill granting amnesty in certain cases to military officers involved in atrocities against Haitian civilians. And in Norfolk, Virginia, President Clinton greeted the crew of the aircraft carrier Eisenhower, thanking them for their work in getting troops and equipment into Haiti for their role in Operation Uphold Democracy. The search goes on for answers this morning in the apparent mass suicide of 48 cult members in Switzerland. Autopsies show the victims received a powerful drug while still alive. And while it's believed the victims were part of a suicide pact, a mass execution has not been ruled out. The bodies were found in buildings that had been set afire, and some of the victims had bullet wounds. There were 2 other cult deaths discovered this weekend as well in Canada. In the O.J. Simpson double murder case, the defense has suffered yet another defeat. O.J. Simpson's defense team was in court asking Judge Lance Ito to throw out key evidence taken from Simpson's Ford Bronco by police after the double murders that Simpson is accused of. They were arguing that several items not listed by police on a search warrant were taken from the Bronco anyway. Judge Ito denied that motion, however, saying police acted properly in their search. Here are the results of the latest study of American sex habits. And surprise, Americans are quite conservative. Researchers at the University of Chicago say they have found Americans are far less sexually active than previously thought, that women typically have 2 sexual partners over a lifetime, while men have 6. The study was based on 3,500 people aged 18 through 50. The surveyors also found Americans have sex about once a week, but a third of all adults engage in it only a few times a year, or not at all.
Sir, do you ever spend $70 for a motel room?
Yes, I do.
May I see your wallet, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
Throwing your money away. You do.
Don't throw your money away. Hit the roof. Red Roof Inns.
More to the left, Bob.
Hey, MCI customers, it sounds so easy to get big savings with all those MCI friends and family plans, but first you got to give out a list of names and numbers of your friends and family. Keep that list up to date. And after all that, anytime you call someone not on your list, you won't save anything at all. You may even have to pay up to $36 a year in fees. Why bother? Now, for a simple way to save from AT&T. With True USA Savings, spend $25 a month, subtract 20% off your AT&T bill. Guaranteed. To switch to AT&T, call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Get True USA Savings, then you're free to call anyone, anytime, anywhere in the U.S. and save 20%. No lists, no fees, no hoopla. We'll even switch you for free. All you got to do is call AT&T.
Your true voice.
A girl with 2 personalities.
No, not Carrie. My name is Jessie.
And one bad mother could be murder. Does it all add up?
I don't think that she's guilty.
Silk Stockings on USA, Monday night at 10.
On the Friday Morning Business Briefs, Kodak settles a suit over the environment, medical technology is coming to chip makers, and NASA is getting into the car business. Well, sort of. Here's First Business correspondent Larry Matthews.
Space technology is coming to the car business. The Ford Motor Company has signed a deal with NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, to share NASA-developed technology. Under the agreement, Ford will use the technology in its automotive research, including the use of advanced materials, vehicle wiring, cooling systems, and fuel economy. This is the first such agreement between NASA and an automaker. IBM, AT&T, and Motorola are getting together to explore the use of X-rays to develop the next generation of small, cheaper computer chips. X-ray technology would allow chip makers to manufacture smaller and faster chips with
more today on Breakfast from New Orleans. Tropicana, committed to bringing the taste of fresh squeeze to American homes, and makers of Tropicana Pure Premium Grove Stand, is pleased to make possible in part Breakfast from New Orleans. Tropicana. From Brennan's Restaurant in New Orleans' historic French Quarter, it's time for Breakfast from New Orleans, featuring Executive Chef Michael Roussel. In the fashion of their French ancestors, the Creoles of New Orleans divided their meals, including breakfast, into 3 or more distinct courses. The courses on our menu today are a subtle balance between Chef Roussel's recent creations and dishes whose development can be traced to the turn of the century, namely grillades and grits and crêpe Suzette. The accompanying eye-opener also has a 100-year-old pedigree.
And now I'm going to make the gin fizz.